Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of On Point for today, Friday, the 27th day of February 2026. My name is Alexis Jeffers, and of course I'm the host of this show, which is called On Point. And we are here from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. every Friday afternoon. And of course it is always my pleasure being here on Von Radio 860 AM and 93.7 FM every Friday afternoon. And so this afternoon it is indeed my pleasure, of course. And before we get started, let's do what we normally do in terms of housekeeping, meaning shouting up all of the folks who are listening to Von Radio at this time, especially those folks who are listening up there in the constituency of St. James, that is up in the north of the island of Nevis. And I want to say good afternoon to my friend there, Baby Perkins. That's Violet Baby Perkins, who I know is listening at this time. And of course a few persons who are, I want to say, quote unquote, under the weather these days, and I just want to say hello to you and bring some warmth to you and some blessings in terms of wishing you all of the best in your journey in terms of recovery and the likes. So let me say good afternoon to my friend up there in Fountain, Shine Daniel. Well, he have an expensive first name, Cleflin, but Shine, good afternoon. It was good seeing you yesterday, and we'll come by and say hello again in the not too distant future. I also want to say good afternoon and get well greetings to teacher Lorna Doris over there in Combermere area. And Lorna, I want you to be patient with your body, of course, and continue to pray to the good Lord above for his intervention in terms of his healing hands. And then of course we go back up to Brickhill and say good afternoon to my neighbor. Well, I grew up there in Gotoul, just across the street from her, Anita Nisbet, who is a soldier in many regards. She continued to battle on, and I want to say good afternoon to you, Anita, and all the best is wished to you as well. And up and down the whole of Nevis, those who are having any challenges or difficulties, I wish you well in your recovery. God's blessings be with you. And of course, just take it one day at a time, as they say. Okay, in terms of condolences, I'm sure there are families out there who are grieving at this time. There are some persons who have been grieving for quite some time, and there are a couple of funerals planned for tomorrow. And I want to wish all of the families who are grieving at this time all the best. God's blessings be with you. And indeed, this is a time to ask for his intervention as well in terms of his blessings and his caring hands, so that you can get through these difficult times. And indeed, anyone who all of you who are able to support these grieving families, please do so, because you know, we can only imagine sometimes how difficult it is to lose a loved one. Those who have lost someone would know exactly what the feeling is like, but at this time we can only say that we understand, and God understands more than we do anyway, and that is why he would never leave you or forsake you. So get well greetings to all who are up there at the Alexandria Hospital as well. We want to see you up and about and making your contribution as always to the development of the island of Nevis. And so we are praying and hoping that the nurses and doctors, they will have the right remedy for you. But always the best remedy is to put your trust and faith in God, that he will see you through. So all the best in your recovery and God's blessings. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to some happier times, because people may be going through difficulties, yes, but there are people out there who are celebrating as well, whether it's a birthday, a special occasion, some milestone, whatever the case might be. I wish you all the best in your celebration. And I've always said that when it comes to a birthday, for example, celebrate as if it's the last, but we wish you many more. And if you have $1, you have $5, $100, whatever amount you have, spend some on yourself so that you can have a wonderful time. Because of course, once you have the health and strength, you will be able to replenish that once you're working still, or you can find some other means. Maybe you get some kind of allowance somewhere to replenish it, I don't know. but I want to wish everyone all the best in their celebration. In terms of celebration today, I don't have anyone on my list, but I know for sure someone must be out there celebrating. But let's look at who are celebrating tomorrow. For example, I have just one or two persons here. Claire Bartlett, I understand you're celebrating your birthday tomorrow. Claire, I know you well. Haven't seen you for some time, but I want to wish you all of the best tomorrow and wish you many more years of celebration as well. There's a very good friend of mine down there in St. Kitts. I've known him for a number of years, over 30 years. I first got to know him back in, 1993, I believe it was. And he's none other than Vincent Gums. Well, Vincent Gums, but he's affectionately known as Gumbo. So I hope he's listening to me right now, because at least I'm publicly sending out special greetings to you, Gumbo. You're a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine as well, too. And we have gone through, thick and thin, and we have known each other for quite some time. Just some historical background with respect to Gumbo. I believe back in '93, he would have worked at the TDC Airlines up at the airport there at RLB. And then he was transferred to TDC Rentals, and that's when I got to know him, because I was at TDC Rentals at the time. And of course, we were competitive in our spirits then, and our actions also, because we had rental companies on St. Kitts and on Nevis. At that time, I believe we had about 105 vehicles in Nevis, because of course TDC had the monopoly down there at Four Seasons as well. And St. Kitts would have had a little less than 100 vehicles as well. And I used to brag and boast that I have 105 vehicles out on the road. And then you check the books on St. Kitts, they still had a vehicle sitting down in the parking lot over there. So I can recall Gumbo used to say he was under pressure from the chairman then, Mr. Michael King. Look at what Jeffers is doing over in St. Kitts. Try and emulate him. And so it was a competitive spirit all along, but we worked together and made sure that both ends, on the St. Kitts end and the Nevis end, did well at that point in time, to the point where we had these amount of vehicles in the fleet here on Nevis and on St. Kitts. TDC was the company of choice then too. It has certainly fallen apart, so to speak, since then, because they have far less than that in their fleet. But Gumbo always remind me of those days when he was under pressure, brought about by my exploits or our exploits here on the island of Nevis. But it was all in the sake of doing your work, working for an honest day's living. That's what it was then. And he's still there at TDC. I think he manages the automotive division up there in the Ponds Pasture, you call up there? What's up there? Ponds Industrial Site, somewhere up that side there in St. Kitts. But yeah, we still stay in touch, and I want to wish him a happy birthday when it comes tomorrow. And so, Gumbo, God bless you, my brother, and all the best to you. May you live to see many, many more years of celebrating birthdays and living on this earth. God bless you. Well, on Sunday, I know this is a good friend of mine over there in Eden Brown, Butler's Eden Brown. Regan Daniel is celebrating her birthday on Sunday, the 1st of March. Yeah? So, Regan, I just saw her downtown, and guess what I told her? I told her, listen, you're looking so refreshing and so refined that retirement is good for you. You spend time with yourself and take care of yourself, and she's looking mighty fine. So, Regan, happy birthday when it comes on Sunday, and God bless you as always. And of course, there's another person who is from Butlers but living down in St. Martin, who I know very well, Messeline Marceline. She lives down there in St. Martin, related to Cheryl Sutton and the Sutton family over there in Butlers. Have a wonderful birthday on Sunday, Mrs. Marceline. And I wish I was in St. Martin to give you a hug for your birthday, but of course I'm not there. But I want you to go out and have a wonderful time. And of course, all of your friends and family will make sure that you do have a great time on Sunday as well. Up in New York, Pete Weeks from over there in Newcastle, but he's up in New York, yeah? Pete is celebrating on Sunday as well. Now we go to Monday, since I won't be here until next Friday, God's willing. On Monday we have O'Neill Hines, Cane Gardens, a friend of mine there, a guy who is into refrigeration, electronics, that kind of thing. Happy birthday when he comes on Monday, O'Neill. We've worked good together. He rents generator and the like, so he's out there in the field doing quite a number of things. And I hope you'll have a wonderful day on Monday, the 2nd of March. And then, of course, Malvern Chip Martin, taxi driver from over there in the St. James area, he's celebrating on Monday as well. Happy birthday to you, Chip. May you live to see many more. And, of course, on Tuesday, a very good friend of mine as well up there in Butlers, up the Manning, I will say. Jenny Glasgow is celebrating on Tuesday. And Jenny, I'll probably see you in church to wish you happy birthday as well on Sunday anyway. But happy birthday to you in advance. And may you have a wonderful day on Tuesday. Donique Liebert as well, who works over there at Finish Touch. He's going to be celebrating on Tuesday. And of course, I believe my good friend there, Beahu. Those who know Beahu used to work at the hospital. He now, does a good job in taking our school children around. Dwayne Beahu David is celebrating on Tuesday as well. Now I'm going to back up. I saved this one for the end of all that, because this is a special birthday that is coming up on Monday as well, on the 2nd of March. This is the birthday of Geraldine Simmons Berry. Geraldine lives down there in Matchman Road, across the Church Road in that area. Geraldine Simmons is going to be 101 on Monday. Yeah. Those of you who might recall last year, she would have celebrated, of course, her 100th birthday. And she went to church. We went to church to celebrate with her, and then we went down to the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park. And if you were to do some scrolling or searching of Facebook, maybe you'll see her dancing away to the string band music, still full of life, full of vim, vigor, and vitality at 101. And Geraldine, you ask her, well, what have you been doing over these 101 years to keep you looking so young and keeping you so vibrant? She said, well, she'll look after her garden, she'll look out for her hen, what we say, fowl or hen, and her animals, do a lot of things around the yard, around the house, stay busy and eat well and get her rest. So, it's probably a simple formula, but she's just a lovely specimen of God's creation. She has been around for a long time. 101 years is a long time to live. But not only that, she would have had a brother who would have lived to 102. And I believe last year, I recall, one of her sons said that there was another brother who lived to see 104. But listen, that's a tremendously long time to live. And so we want to wish Geraldine good health and strength for her remaining days and years, because only God knows how much longer she'll live. But the way I'm seeing it, she looks like she can go on for quite some time to come. So I wish you well, Geraldine, and she will be going to church on Sunday. I believe there's a church service planned down there at the St. George's Anglican Church, 7 a.m. 7 a.m. That's very early for some, but here's what it is. Make a special effort to go and celebrate in that church service with Geraldine, and also keep in mind that we are in the Lenten season in the Anglican faith. Other denominations are celebrating as well, but this is a time in the Anglican faith for us to have a period or time of renewal of our relationship with God, and renewal of our belief and faith in the God that we serve. And of course, it is a revival time as well, to where we have church regularly, Sundays, during the week, whatever the case might be, to make sure that we are reconnecting with our God. And so try and go on Sunday to celebrate with Geraldine, and also, being that it is a Lenten season, we try to say, well, those of you who haven't come to church for a long time, at least during the Lenten season, come and have that renewal. Yeah, come and reconnect and come and be a part of the revival that is happening at this time. Yeah. Okay, so I'll leave that for now, but Sunday would be a good day to go to church. Yes. Good. Okay. Let's move right along. The weather outside is almost perfect. Very nice. Had some rain this morning over in the Butler's area. Well, a quick shower. And of course, last night there was some rain. And so we are getting these intermittent showers, which is good. But during the day, it's kind of warm. But there is a breeze blowing as well, too, anyway. But, of course, up in the United States, you're hearing about blizzard, and more blizzards. Because, of course, they're in the winter season up there in the United States and across Europe and other countries, of course, Canada, of course. And indeed, it is a perfect time, the perfect time to perhaps get out and come on down and get some warmth. And so I'm inviting one and all who haven't made any plans to travel to Nevis at this time, make some plans. I believe you owe it to yourself to give yourself a special treat. So come on down and enjoy the weather that we're experiencing here. And I jump right into the show without, doing my usual hello to everyone. So let me just give a general hello to all who are listening, whether here, there, and elsewhere, meaning St. Kitts, throughout the Caribbean, and up in the United States and Canada and Europe and even into Asia. We know we go through that formality every Friday. But, of course, sometimes we jump ahead and run straight into the show, which I did just now. But at least I know you're with me and I appreciate your listenership and viewership as well. So we move right along still. And so I was just talking about the weather. Come on down and enjoy what we have to offer here in Nevis. There are many persons who are coming, many persons who are enjoying, and many persons who are saying great things and very good things about Nevis when they come and experience. So you too can come and experience your own homeland. So come on down and enjoy. Yeah? Okay, in terms of public service announcements, I spoke about it last week and I'll speak about it every week because I want us to start preparing accordingly and prepare our minds and our sponsorship for this particular event when it comes up. It is a few months away, maybe about 2 months away, yeah? But you have to start early so that at least people put this in their calendar and also make their plans accordingly. So we have coming up on the 24th of May, that is With Monday, our annual With Monday medical fundraiser, which is put on by the Bricklin and Butlers, or Butlers and Bricklin communities. And so what we do with this particular event, we raise funds and the money is donated, contributed, or given to a worthy recipient, someone who is going through, or some persons who are going through various medical challenges or medical issues that they're dealing with, and will have some challenges with raising the necessary funds. We can't pay for your entire medical bill, but of course some of the monies that we raise and we donate to you can help in some way in defraying some of the costs. And so we have already lined up thus far the New Vibes Band, Grandmasters Band, Destiny Band, which is a band up there in the Brick Hill area, and of course Itebulous, who will come and entertain us. The DJs such as DJ Lalbo, DJ Zimba, and of course DJ Wet Dot out of St. Kitts. So we have a packed lineup of entertainment for that day, and of course there'll be food, drinks, and so forth and sale. We'll have domino, not competition, but it will be for fun. And last time we had a raffle, so we're hoping to do likewise this year. We'll get a few items to raffle on that day. So that is an event to look forward to. I did mention about this agriculture fair and exhibition that comes up on the 27th and 28th of March. That will be an event to look forward to as well. That's his 30th anniversary, so it's a big one. And so I am putting in that plug as the former Minister of Agriculture. I love to see agriculture excel, and whatever the ministry and department is undertaking, are undertaking, I would like to give it my blessings and my support. So I'm giving my support in this regard. So those 2 days, Thursday the 27th and Friday the 28th of March, are days to put into your calendar and tell yourself you have to be at the E.T. Willett Park for those 2 days to be a part of that event where farmers and stakeholders will come together and seek to display what they normally would produce, but also sell those products as well for some returns. So when you go there, make sure you walk with some money or take some monies with you to spend with the farmers and all of the different stakeholders who will be there operating those booths. Now, in terms of the sporting calendar, we're now in the sports season. That's what it is called, yeah? All of the schools have had or will be having their sports day. And so there are 3 schools that are near and dear to me that are up there in the constituency of St. James and St. Thomas Parish, which make up Nevis 11. St. James Primary School, VOJN Primary School, and the St. Thomas Primary School. Of course, the St. Thomas Primary School will be having their sports day on the 4th of March, which is this upcoming Wednesday. I'm asking everyone to go out and support the school. Starts at 1 p.m. And then, of course, next Friday, the 6th of March, will be the VOJN Primary School's Sports Day. Starts at 12:30 p.m. and that will be up at the VOJN Sporting Complex. And then the following Tuesday, the 10th of March, will be the turn of the St. James Primary School, and their sports day starts at 1 p.m. over there at St. James Madden's. St. James Primary School is located in that area. So the event will be right on their playfield right there at the school. So kindly support these schools and the children. They need your support. Your support will certainly enhance their performance in many ways, because when people see a crowd, they tend to exert more effort and their spirits are lifted. So go on out and support these schools. Yeah, okay, so that's it for sports. And as I go along, if anything else comes to mind, then I will certainly touch on those things, of course. Okay, so let's move right along. Yes, so I am here on a Friday afternoon, and it's not a call-in program. It is a program for just about an hour where I just give my views and give my opinion on certain things that are happening within the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Of course, in recent days, we've had the 50th meeting of CARICOM heads of government down there on St. Kitts. And indeed, the opening ceremony, I believe, was on Tuesday. And then they've had a few days of deliberation meetings and the likes. Yesterday, I believe I saw a video or some videos of the entire CARICOM heads team coming over to the island of Nevis to have a meeting down there at the Four Seasons Resort. And of course, that is a good thing. I will say that in the past, when you have these meetings, we would not have seen such delegation coming to the island of Nevis. So at least we can say positive things have happened in recent years. I can speak of, for example, the Independence Church service, which prior to 2013, I cannot recall such service being held in Nevis, but it has been held there over the past couple of years. And indeed, I can speak about something that has never happened before, but happened under this CCM government or party in government, which was the visit of the then president of the Republic China, Taiwan. Man, I forgot her name. But anyway, the president would have come here for a groundbreaking ceremony to initiate that project down there, the Malcolm Gishard Recreational Park. Prior to President, was it President Tsai? I believe it was President Tsai. No other president would have come to Nevis prior to that. And so that was a significant milestone as well. So the point I'm trying to make here is that with a federation, you expect anything that is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis, you expect Nevis to be a part of it as well too. Not everything happening in Bastia only, but certain things should come to Charlestown. And so when I saw the delegation coming over yesterday, I said, that is also a step in the right direction. And it shows that there has been some maturity in the thinking of the leadership of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, where Nevis is included in some of these events that are dubbed St. Kitts and Nevis. Yeah, and so it was a joy to see the Premier of Nevis and also the leader of the opposition, of the federal leader of the opposition, the Honorable Mark Brantley, welcoming all of the CARICOM heads here on Nevis, which must be a historical thing. And it was the first time ever, as far as I know. So under the leadership of the Honorable Mark Brantley, there are a lot of first-timers, a lot of things that are happening for the first time. And that is one such event. And it shows that the leadership of Mark Brantley is standing tall throughout the Caribbean, because I believe he knows all of those leaders and have interacted with them over the years. Well, he will tell you more about that, and he can speak more eloquently regarding his relationship with all of those leaders over the years. And that's how you build a network. And that's how you build a relationship, by reaching out. And so many times you hear, where he gone again? Oh, he on a plane gone somewhere. I will tell you this much, that you cannot meet leaders of foreign countries, whether regional or international, by sitting down in Charlestown or sitting down in Bastia. You must go out and forge those relationships, because if they're not coming, you have to go. And by going, that's how you get things done. And so it's not every time you go and meet with a leader that you bring back something that is tangible, like you bring back a project or anything of that sort. It can be some diplomatic ties that you're forging, deeper ties, I must say, or you're seeking to establish an agreement that can be long-lasting in many ways. But you go out and you meet, you eyeball, face-to-face, and that makes a huge difference as we're doing these days, these Zoom meeting or even a telephone call. It is more personal going out there to meet with whether a leader or any high official in any government out there in the international community. And so coming to Charlestown or coming to Four Seasons yesterday was a step in the right direction. At least we can say that Nevis was a part of this 50th anniversary, which is a significant milestone, and Nevis would have been a part of that celebration and also play their role in ensuring that these leaders were given the best hospitality here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So I say kudos to the Honorable Mark Brantley. Kudos, of course, to the Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew, and his team and the team of the Concerned Citizens Movement in government. And of course, some may see the negative behind this particular move or this particular gesture. But then again, what else to expect? You'll always have positive things being said. You'll also have negative things being said. And that is the nature of the community that we live in, or the world that we live in. Not everyone will agree with everything that is said and done. But of course, those who know what to do and the right thing to do will continue to do the right thing, and to ensure that the mandate that was given to you as a leader, as a party in government, which is to bring a notoriety to your island or your country and to bring opportunities to your people, continue to do that. And that is what the Premier of Nevis continues to do. And so we have heard so many things being said coming from the other side, and of course there are times when you would respond, there are times when you'll just leave it alone, because it brings no value to responding to some of the things that you've heard. But I want to respond, so to speak, and clarify something that has been out there for some time. And I want the people of Nevis and those who are listening at this time to understand that there are lots of things that are in the airwaves these days and social media. And some persons are talking very loudly. And so they may seem like they're talking sense or they're talking the truth, but they're speaking loud and they're speaking often and they're speaking as if they are the authority. But I'll say this to you that I have said before and I'll say again, it is important for each and every one of us to arm ourselves with information when it is available. If it is not available in the public space, then you have to ask question, where can I find this? So when something is said to you, you listen to it, you check out the veracity of it, and then you sift through it and you say, well, this doesn't sound right. And so I want to say this afternoon that we've been hearing quite a number of things being said regarding this geothermal matter. The geothermal matter, just to put that in perspective, geothermal and the talk about geothermal has been around for a number of years. As a matter of fact, you go back to the days of the Honorable Michael Perkins when he was the Minister of Communications and Works back in early 2000s, around 2004. We started hearing about geothermal. And of course the NRP would have come along and they continue talking about geothermal every day. But here's my thing about geothermal, and this is not a program about geothermal this afternoon. It's just that we have been hearing from the other side that the CCM, they say, have taken up geothermal and handed it to the federal government. And so you hear that every day, you hear it every week, you hear it every month, and you'll hear it for the next couple of years. You will think that is the truth. And that is why I said to someone the other day that sometimes when some of these things are being said, they're being said for a reason, you know. Things have been said about me and it continued to be said over and over again. There was something said and I put a stop to it by going to the High Court with it. And so you have to put a stop sometimes to certain things. This is not a legal matter where you take to the courts, but this is just a matter where people are being misled and the facts are being misrepresented. And that is the culture that we have coming out of the NRP, where you have a culture of deception, a culture of misrepresentation. They'll seek to mislead you, and then downright lies are just being peddled from time to time. And of course, no other issue or matter that comes to mind more than this 80-acre deal that was being peddled by the NRP. I see the former minister who was in government, who was deemed null and void by the court, bringing that back up again in writing, in print. And that tells you that they're going back to the same old playbook. They haven't even just ripped out a page. They've taken out chapters out of that playbook. And even the whole playbook, it seems like they're bringing back at us, coming back with these lies and deception. And so this whole idea of the CCM, they claim, have taken up geothermal and handed it to the federal government, which is so foolish. I said to myself, why would a party in opposition, instead of coming clean and understanding what is being done and educating the people, you come with this, what I call, I almost want to say hogwash. But anyway, they come with these lies and this misrepresentation and misinformation to the people, trying to convince people that is the case. But let's see. I have listened to them over the years. And in recent times, I've listened and I've listened closely. And the more I listen, the more I say, listen, I think these guys should take a different course. Because people can get access, or things are now more accessible. Yeah? For example, the NRP would lead you to believe that, you see that 2 acres of lands down there at Rest Haven? The way they talk, they would lead you to believe that the CCM would have acquired those lands. And the CCM would have put the island of Nevis into a situation where they now owe $30 million for those lands. The NRP would lead you to believe that. When in truth and in fact, they were the ones who went down there and troubled the people with their 2 acres of land with some old buildings and them, you know. And now the people of Nevis owe $30 million for 2 acres of land with some buildings, which more than likely, if anything becomes of that, those buildings will have to be destroyed. They would want you to believe that even that 10 million US dollars or 27 million US dollars that disappear from National Bank, from Scotiabank, that was to be paid or kept there as security as they pay down the mortgage down in Trinidad. They would want you to believe that is the CCM fault that people up at Nugent Heights haven't gotten their title up until now, because the lenders in Trinidad, after they found out that the monies were used up, no security was there, they stopped signing off on those transfers. All because of the NRP government destroying a security account with $27 million in it that was backing all there as security for those lands down there at Nugent Heights and Nugent Village. So there are people right now still waiting on their title. They would also lead you to believe that they are so interested in the Van Samre International Airport expansion when they are the ones who said that they would never touch that airport, do anything with that airport. As a matter of fact, their action suggests to me that they left it there to die. Simply because what? The Honorable Van Samre's name is on it, and they said unless that name comes off, they would never touch it. They said it on the platform, said it all up and down Nevis, and what they say, they mean. Even this talk about Destiny Project over here at the south of Nevis. You listen to them, sounds like it's the worst thing that could ever happen on the island of Nevis, when the value of that project to the island is worth millions, billions of dollars. But they have come with their spin, and you listen to them, and you know, it almost sounds that everything is, sky is falling in. But you would think that what they're saying is the gospel. You would think that what they're saying, they don't have their ulterior motives. For example, as well, I started talking about geothermal. I come right back to it, because they would want you to think that they did so much with geothermal. And yes, they did. Here's what they did though. They went down in Charlestown, had a launch party down there, like Culturama, on a Friday afternoon in Charlestown. Balloons, confetti, pickup truck, DJs, noise, music, balloons. I said balloons before, I said balloons again because all the balloons were down there. Whistle, everything was down there, announcing the arrival of geothermal. And we had a joke one day. We said, oh my goodness, NRP is celebrating the birth of the child before it was conceived. So they were having all kind of noise down there. And then by the following week, guess what happened? NRP took West Indies Power to court, asking the court to get them out of this agreement with West Indies Power, because they claim West Indies Power did not have any money. West Indies Power was broke. And you know, the court agreed with them. The court agreed with them, the High Court. West Indies Power then appealed to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal agreed with the government of the day then, because government would have changed in the interim. When the people of Nevis realized the NRP was a joke, get rid of the jokers, then we had to deal with that. I recall, as the new Minister of Communications and Works, first thing I had to deal with was that. I went down to St. Kitts to the Court of Appeal, and while I was there sitting comfortably in a seat there, the fellow McDonald, what's his name, Kerry, came over to me. And he said, can we go outside and have a conversation so we can put an end to this? I said, boss, don't you see the 3 judges up there in their seat sitting? The judges have been empaneled. They're ready to go. What can I say? What can I do? Yeah? Well, he quietly moved away and went back to his seat, because what could I do at that point? Nothing. Because the High Court already said that they were broke based on the evidence that was presented by the NRP. And so the High Court agreed, and eventually the Appeals Court agreed, and that was the end of that. So they would make you to believe that they did so much, but yet still, with all the noise they made, they even went down there when they signed the agreement with West Indies Power in the dead of night down there at the netball court, the netball village or netball city, now has new name. But for ease of understanding, down at the netball complex, they had a signing agreement one night, in the dead of night. We had a joke too, that no signature was placed on those documents, or they will sign a blank document, because as far as I'm concerned, we never saw it, we didn't know anything about that anyway. It didn't get anywhere. So all of this, they would want you to believe they have done so much, but yet still all they have done to since they've been in and out of government is to try and derail anything that is being done to advance the island of Nevis. Everything that we have done as a party in government is to push the island of Nevis forward, and its people. People have been the center of what we have sought to do, and of course the development of the island of Nevis is a mandate that was given to the concerned citizens movement in government, and that's what we're trying to do. And so you hear about this thing about taking up geothermal and giving it to the federal government, and I say, listen, we approach the federal government for a guarantee because the CDB, or the Caribbean Development Bank, wanted as one of the conditions for them to lend or loan 17 million US dollars for the development of those wells, meaning the exploration work, to see exactly what the resource is like. They said they needed a guarantee from the federal government, and it's not unlike any other guarantee that has been given before. And before I'm done, I'm going to go through at least 17 different federal guarantees that have been given. And there's a point to all this, because there have been guarantees sought and given to the Nevis Island administration over the years. And I can go all the way back to 1993. And I'm going to make the point as I go along that these federal guarantees are needed by whether regional institution or foreign institution or government who we would seek any loans from. So when you hear them say that we take up geothermal and give it simply because the federal government have given its blessings by way of a guarantee so that the Caribbean Development Bank can be satisfied that there is some security and assurances with that guarantee. But anything to be repaid would have to be repaid by the government and people of Nevis, as with all of the guarantees that have been given. Let me go through a couple of them, because we seem not to understand that there must be some relationship with the federal government in order to get things done. Listen, before I do that, something just came to mind. The NRP was in government with the Labour Party between 2010 and 2015. All that time they were seeking to push geothermal forward. And the NRP then would have sought a guarantee from the federal government, which was the Labour government then. It was not forthcoming, they didn't get it. And the leader of the NRP then and the leader of Nevis then would have said that, well, he went and sought this guarantee, and something was asked of the Nevis Island administration, and it was not, they were not about to give it or something of that sort. We never got the truth, we never got the full picture. All I can say is that that guarantee never came. Even though they had, when they were in a coalition, what's his name, the Patrice Nisbet was not only just in the federal parliament, he was in the federal cabinet. He was sitting around the table just like I'm here sitting at this table. So he was a part of the decision-making process. He was the Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, et al. So it therefore means any guarantee would have come through his office the same way, because any guarantee that is issued by the federal government has to go through finance, the Ministry of Finance, through to the Ministry of Legal Affairs or the Attorney General office, and then of course to the Prime Minister. So even though he was there, the NRP had someone around the table negotiating for them at the federal level, in the federal cabinet. They were still denied a guarantee. So NRP, you shouldn't be talking about no kind of guarantee about anything when it comes to geothermal. You sought and you were denied. We sought and we have received. You see the difference between two parties when they negotiate? You have one which is a bad negotiator and one who can negotiate. You look at the CCM, for example. Even in opposition, we are willing to work with whomever it is in Bastille for the betterment of the people of Nevis and the island of Nevis. No have to make no noise with nobody. We made noise in the past because Nevis was being treated unfairly. Well, we're not getting the treatment that we would want to receive or should receive at this point. But there are times when you have to put acrimony aside, put all that aside in order to advance the cause of your people and your island. And so nobody had it better than the NRP down there between 2010 and 2015. What did we get? Nothing. We couldn't get no guarantee for geothermal. We couldn't get nothing from the SIDF. Couldn't get nothing from the sale of passport. Nada. Nothing. Zero. Zilch. And then they got the most mouth on radio. When in truth and in fact, they should watch and learn from those who can do it and have done it and continue to do it. Watch and learn. And try to educate people and tell them, listen, the CCM is trying its best because they have certain obstacles and certain things against the CCM at this time. When we were in government under Team Unity, you can say what you like. They can say what they like. Because if we got $600 million and NRP got zero, and if we got, let's say, persons who were placed at the diplomatic level throughout the world, in embassies all over the world, well, you have to give us some credit because NRP didn't put nobody anywhere. Oh, I think they put one person up in New York to mobilize votes or whatever the case might be. But anyway, you're talking about ambassadors. Never before in the history of Nevis you've had any ambassadors being stationed anywhere in any embassy throughout the globe. It happened under CCM, under Mark Brantley as the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Grant funds that came to the Federation came to Nevis as well. Under NRP, not a thing came. So you wonder, well, who are these people preaching to? Who are they talking to? And who is believing them? When the evidence is clear. You talk about evidence? There are glaring evidence out there of what has been achieved and what we have failed at. And we have failed at everything under the NRP. And you know something? A federal election is going to come. I'm going to get back to some of these guarantees because I want to read it into the record. Yeah? A federal election is going to come. And over the years when there have been an NRP representative in St. Kitts, Nevis have gotten nothing. From 2000 until 2015, not a thing. Because they got up down there and they said Nevis no want nothing, you know. And they said Nevis no want nothing and they meant it because they brought nothing. Only after CCM got some leverage in St. Kitts is when we started receiving what is rightfully ours, some of what is rightfully ours. So when you talk about comparison, you compare and contrast. Compare and contrast. Because we have shown you and demonstrated to you that when it comes to negotiation at the federal level, when it comes to representation at the federal level, the only party in Nevis that has done so with the interests of the people at heart is the Concerned Citizens Movement. And I don't care what nobody out there tell me otherwise, because the facts are there and the evidence is clear. So some operatives in St. Kitts is going to come and, you know, warm up to NRP and warm up to some out there in the wilderness and try and recoup them and bring them back in to stymie the progress of Nevis. Nevisians, beware. Keep your eyes on the ball, yeah? Because some in St. Kitts are just interested in their own personal gains and their personal benefits, and they'll use persons in Nevis who are weak and who have no interest in the people of Nevis and the island of Nevis, but more so interested in their own self and their own well-being. But their well-being is not yours. You better look out for yourself and understand who is looking out for you. And so when you see all these machinations about who going to run and who going to do this and who going to do that, you better keep an eye out for what is going on, because it has nothing to do with you out there who are trying to make a way for yourself and your family. The Concerned Citizens Movement at every turn have sought to go and champion the cause of Nevisians, whether in St. Kitts, whether regionally or internationally. And so I come back to this guarantee, because when you hear that this geothermal was guaranteed by the federal government and how we have taken it and given it to the federal government, listen up. Since 1993, I went back into the archives because I had, you know, sometimes when you're in and around government, you try to put things, you know, aside so that at least you can pick it up sometimes and have a look. In 1993, 4 loans were guaranteed by the federal government, and those were loans had from the Caribbean Development Bank. Those were for port development. And if my memory serves me right, that pier down there in Charlestown, I remember the days when, you know, containers were over people's head. The boats, well, it was expanded for those container ships to come in, like Tropical and Burnout and so forth. I'm going to get to Long Point because all that was guaranteed by the federal government. And so the pier was extended. And so you can get the berthing of those ships. Those were loans that were had from this Caribbean Development Bank, guaranteed by the federal government. In 1994, another 4 loans were guaranteed through the CDB by the federal government. And this is for additional port development and also road network improvement. And then in 1998, another 2 for road improvement and road development as well. Then in 1999, the Newcastle Airport project, that was a loan had from the Kuwaiti fund that was guaranteed by the federal government. And then you move on to 2001 road improvement project again, CDB, federal government guarantee. 2010, NRP was in government then. You had a mega international commercial bank loan. I don't know who the mega international commercial bank is, but that was guaranteed by the federal government. And NRP would know what that money was for. I don't know, but I see it here in my list that I'm looking at. And then, of course, in 2011, the Nevis Water Enhancements Project, $30 million. I remember that well because we came into government. It was initiated under the NRP. Well, take credit for the initiation, but at least they met documents there when they got into government, because efforts were being made to seek to enhance the water delivery and the water resource here on the island of Nevis, whereby they met some proposals there at the Ministry of Communications and Works, and they've talked about it. They've talked about it. They talk about who was high and who was low. I'm not going to spend any more time on that right now, but at least the Water Enhancement Project, $30 million. And I'm going to stop at this for now. In 2015, we had to restructure that Kuwaiti fund mortgage or loan that was had back in 2000 or 1999. So in 2015, we came into government. The NRP had refused to pay that particular loan. Didn't pay a thing on it. So we then had to come into government, restructure it and develop or re-establish the relationship with the Kuwaiti fund. And we are still paying for those mortgages because, of course, they were unpaid and we are paying now. And so the NRP came in and messed that up. But that was also guaranteed by the federal government. The point I want to make regarding some of these, and I'm going to go on further, is that all of these infrastructural development was done, including the Long Point Pier. Now, let's look at the example that the NRP has given. Yes, we have taken up geothermal, they say. They have said it. Not yes, but they have said it, that we have taken up geothermal simply because of a guarantee. Well then, if you're to use that argument, then all of these guarantees we've had since 1993, leading up to 2015, for example, it therefore means we take up a road and give it to St. Kitts then. We take up a water and give it to St. Kitts then. Well, how come with all the water woes in St. Kitts, they ain't come over and run a pipe from Nevis over to St. Kitts to relieve them of some of the water woes they're having over there? So because the NRP is saying that the water under the ground over here belongs to the federal government because they've given a guarantee. So when you listen to this foolishness, you wonder, well, what are these guys talking about, and who are they talking to, and who are they trying to convince? Because with all of these guarantees, all of the resources and all of the infrastructural development that was done are still here. The Long Point Pier is still over there. Charlestown Pier is still down there. The roads, we are still driving on them. The water enhancement project has been done all around Nevis. I believe the only place in Nevis that isn't connected is somewhere over there by, what they call it, Jackass, Pasha, Matty Bottom, in that area. But throughout the whole of Nevis, brand new, what type of tanks those are? Duraglass tanks? Those black tanks. So you mean they belong to the federal government? Well, I can't understand the logic that these people are using. Simple to what? To bamboozle people? To fool people? Well, we just got a $20 million loan from the National Bank for those lands over there that are going to be used for the expansion of the Van Sammer International Airport, guaranteed by the federal government. What do you mean? The lands them over there belong to the federal government too? By using their logic, that's what someone would want to think. But you look at all of these 17 different guarantees, and there might be more, but I'm just looking at the list that I was able to dig up based on my records, dating from 1993 even up to 2025 last year. 2025 here last year was the $20 million guaranteed loan that we had from National Bank for those lands over there. So all of those belong to the federal government. So the federal government going to come and take up our water and go with it. Well, if they were going to take it up, they would have taken it up since about 10 years ago or 5 years ago. Because they've been having water woes for many years over there. While we have been building, we have been enhancing, we have been distributing, we have been storing, we have been making water available 24/7. And if there was an extra day in the week, water would have been available too. Because of the decisions that were taken by this government to make sure that those resources that we are accustomed to have here on the island are available to our people. I can't recall if there was a guarantee from the federal government for that generator in 2004 up there at Nevlek, you know. I can't recall. But if it was, you're up there pumping electricity to our people. Pumping out whatever word you want to use. You know? But people are the recipient of that. If it was, I'll have to do some research on it, but I recall it was financed by the Caribbean Development Bank. I don't know, but at least I know that that is there and it's providing for our people electricity. So when you hear these nonsense being spewed, people, stop, check, listen. And I said before, we went to school in our early years to learn to read. Now that we are older, we have to read to learn. And that is why I went to pick up this thing and I read through it and I said, wait, look at all of these federal guarantees. And the federal government might say, well, all these are increasing its debt stock. That may be true, but we are paying. We have to pay and we'll continue to pay. But that is why we are in a federation. I would have loved for Nevis to be on its own, to chart its own course. But as it is now, we have a federal government and we have to go to the federal government. And so the federal government can determine how development takes place in Nevis. And we always would want them to see it our way, to provide the support that we ask for so that we can continue to build the island of Nevis. You think it sounds good when they come and they say Nevis nice? They come over all the time and say, boy, Nevis nice. Roads are nice. We want to go to St. Kitts and say the same thing too, but to each his own. You take care of yourself and we'll take care of our own. And so you look at what has happened in Nevis through these federal guarantees, and every single thing that has been guaranteed by the federal government are in Nevis, being used for the betterment of the people and the island of Nevis. We are just saying that this geothermal initiative is one that is aimed at reducing the cost of energy, so that we can transition into 100% renewable energy here in the island of Nevis, and by extension the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. By sometime when I get heated and warmed up, you know, time runs out because it's almost 2 o'clock. But anyway, I just thought that I'll bring that clarity for now. Whatever it means to you out there, it means, but I know it means a lot to me that these guarantees are for the development of the island of Nevis. And it is the mandate of the federal government to provide, because that's why we're in a federal system. Nevis has to develop and St. Kitts has to develop. And so we are happy when they are willing to work with the island of Nevis, because the island of Nevis have demonstrated under a CCM government, when you borrow, you pay. Under NRP, when they borrow, they don't pay. And that is the simple truth. And I'm going to say it again, when we borrow, we pay. When the NRP borrow, they don't pay. And so the people of Nevis, those of you who have to meet those loans at the bank monthly, you understand that you need a responsible party in government to pay the bills so that it doesn't fall back on you, as it happened some years ago when you even had to take a haircut on your investments, treasury bills and whatever investment you had, because of recklessness by the NRP in government. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. It's just about 2 o'clock or 1:59. So I'll go into a wrap-up phase and just remind you that my good friend and will be celebrating her 101 birthday. Well, 101st birthday, if I can put it. She'll be 101 years old, God's willing, on Monday. That's Geraldine Simmonsbury. And those of you who can go to celebrate with her, please go and do so. And, give her your blessings and wish her all the best for years to come. Okay, that's it for me. For now, I want to say to you, if you go to church on a Saturday, go and serve your God. If you go on a Sunday, do likewise. Pray for this station, pray for me, pray for the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Pray that the Lord would impart his wisdom on our leaders and all those who serve this island and this country, so that the right decisions can be made for and on behalf of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. May God continue to bless this island, this country, and do have a safe and wonderful weekend. God bless.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants.